This is Pastor John and elect Lady Vestina Creighton of Christ-like Fellowship of Tarpon Springs, Florida, bringing you another segment of our little guide to get your house in order. Last week we talked about living wills, DNRs, and power of attorneys. And this week we want to talk about getting insurance and maybe preparing for your funeral. But we had some other videos before that, so we hope that you will go back and get up to speed with those. Very good information for you. So once again, life happens to everyone. The question is, are you prepared? So we just want to help you get prepared. So welcome to another segment of Get Your House in Order.
Hello, everyone. And like he said, please make sure you go back. This is actually our second series. I guess, well, actually, this is our second book in the 4-book series that we're doing. It's actually really a guide. Our first one was enjoying the fruit of your marriage. Hope you guys can see that. We're kind of working with a new camera today, guys, so please bear with us. Not sure about the clarity, but we're gonna roll with it. But one of the things we want to make sure, because we don't know if this is the first time you're seeing us, the first video, so just kind of giving you a background, that we actually created a couple of strategic guides, strategy guides that we prepared for couples. And some of this is not even if you're married, you want to be married, even if you're singles, a lot of this information is helpful. And we understand that the enemy is on assignment. We've said this in most every video that we've done. And this is actually video number, what is this, number 4 or 5? Number 5. So what we've said is that the reason we're doing this is because the enemy is on assignment. John 10:10 says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And one of the things that we feel like, and we believe that God has equipped us with what we need to, and guys, I'm sitting here looking at this picture, but I need to be looking at y'all on that camera. But that God has given us what we need by his word, his inspired word, to do battle with the enemy. And so this is what these actual videos have come from. We said that there's a spiritual war going on and there's a natural one going on. And so we've come up with these guides to help you do battle. And so in this, this actually is our guide that says that it's a simple guide on how to enjoy the abundant life as a married couple by fighting and winning 9 battles together. Go back and check on our YouTube video, enjoying the fruit of your marriage. We got 9 installments talking about each one of those battles that you should actually commit to fighting together. And so now we're jumping into that more of that natural thing that a lot of folks don't talk about this stuff, because life happens to everyone and it's not an issue until it becomes an issue. And so what we started out initially was like, while you're in health, go ahead and get prepared, get some things in order, so when if and when something happens, you guys are prepared to handle your business, basically. Because a lot of times when crisis happens, unfortunately, death is a part of life. A lot of people are unprepared. Where do we go? Who do we talk to? What resources do we have in place to make sure that our loved one who has to be the one to carry the load if you fall ill or if you happen to pass away? What resources are in place for them to do what they need to do? So that's what this is all about when we're talking about getting your house in order. And the first one we talked about was in health, get prepared. The next one is about establishing a support system at work if you're still working in the workplace. Ask for help when you're working with, that's with your actual family. It's okay to ask for help, but sometimes you got to make sure when you ask for help, you got to be mindful of what help are you asking for, what help can your family members provide. So we get into that, and there's a video on that as well. And then last week we talked about, it's not an exciting subject, but it's something that needs to be discussed, talking about living wills, DNRs. If anyone has been hospitalized, these things should be very familiar to you. Do not resuscitate, and power of attorney, because sometimes someone who's if your loved one, if you have, like, we're in an age where, parents are getting into that place where they need assistance. They may be ill, or you may be the caregiver of an elder member of your family. Then you might be given power of attorney to handle their business because they're not able to, because they're ill, or whatever the case may be. So we talked a little bit about that. And so tonight we're going to talk about getting that insurance.
Hmm.
So, but with everything that we do, because we are a spiritual couple, Christian couple, we follow Christ, we believe in Christ, we try to take everything back to the word. So, honey, if you could read the scripture, because everything that we do, we try to base it in scripture.
So our supported scripture comes from 1 Timothy 5 and 8. It says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
Ooh.
So God teaches us in his word to be prepared. Nice jump.
I have no idea. Is it still recording?
Now it is. Yep. So
y'all, forgive us. We're going to keep going. How about that?
yeah, so once again, we'll read the scripture because it temporarily froze up. So I don't know what kind of editing, or y'all gonna have some creative filming going on. But 1 Timothy 5 and 8 tells us that anyone does not provide for their family, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So an unbeliever don't believe in being prepared, but we as people of faith know we need to be prepared for life, because life happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you said, this is one of the subjects that we don't talk about, because death is part of life.
Yeah.
Sickness is part of life. Extended illnesses is part of life. Having to care for family members is part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And those things we don't plan for. Even when things you see coming, you're still not ready when they get there. So.
And before you go any further, it's so funny because when we put this book together, we do have an editor. When she was actually going through it, she was like, Vestina, she's like, well, we talk about life happens to everyone, but this whole book is about death. So death is a part of life. And it's one of those things where I say that people don't want to talk about it, but it's not going to stop it from happening. So the whole point is it's all about being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Being prepared. It's a tough discussion, but the reality of it is, that at some point you're gonna have to deal with this. So it's better to go ahead and just deal with it, get some things in place, so when stuff happens, you're ready to jump into action.
It's like anything else. Those that play sports, you do all the practicing and preparing for the game, because eventually the game is coming.
Mm-hmm.
But you practice and prepare in anticipation of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even in school, you go do your classwork, you do the study, because eventually a test's going to come.
Fire drills, tornado drills,
You just don't
anything.
know. You got to practice.
Yep, prepare.
Prepare. So
Yeah.
when they come, you can have a better grips and ideas of training on how to handle it, to help you go through it a little bit smoother than perhaps somebody that didn't have things in place or didn't have the training. And you can also help them.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. We helping one another. So tonight we want to talk about, today, whenever you look at this,
Yeah.
talk about getting the insurance. And we understand that the older you get, the more insurance costs. So
Yeah.
if you're able, the younger you get, the cheaper your rates, and you can lock in better rates. So that's
Absolutely.
one thing. A lot of people didn't teach us that when we was younger.
They taught me, y'all. I just say, listen. So
all of us did get taught that. Like I said, perhaps some things we got taught, like you say, we didn't listen.
But here's the thing, and then I want to just put a pin in before we jump into it, is that everything that we put in here, guys, is either we're experiencing, or someone very close to us have experienced. So this is not just something, and I mean, there's a lot of resources out there, guys, and we are certainly not experts. But what I can tell you is that we're hoping with this that we're encouraging you to get the conversation started with you and your loved ones, because this stuff is real. This stuff is real. And please forgive me, guys, if we're looking here at this image of us on the laptop, but we should be looking in the camera at you guys. So
yeah. New camera, so we in training too with this new camera.
Y'all, I tell you what. Ooh, Lord, maybe we should go get
Mm,
the granddaughter. She probably could teach us how to use this thing.
yes, getting a 5 or 6 year old, they be looking
Mm-hmm.
at us shaking their head like you old
Ooh,
people.
yeah, like, ooh, y'all need to go somewhere and take a
Uh,
nap.
but what we were saying, the sooner you get a grasp on this, the better. And the younger you get insurance, the better your rates are gonna be. Though,
Mm-hmm.
quite naturally, the older you get, the higher because your risks go up.
Yeah.
They assess, different things with different ages and stages in life you're more acceptable to. So you
Mm-hmm.
become a higher risk. Therefore, they're gonna put a higher premium on you.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you do your research, ask family and friends for referral, maybe older couples that
Mm-hmm.
should be established, or even if they don't, maybe help them get the conversation started. Ask them do they have life insurance and when they start and how they got involved in it. So
And another thing that I can tell you is that it's just like any type of professional service that you get. It's really, really good if you can actually get a referral because someone who's had experience um, with that particular company organization is always very helpful because sometimes there's a lot of information out there and most of us would Google or what have you, but you never know what the quality of that service is. I mean, anyone can sell you, because remember, these people are selling you stuff. It's just the bottom line. But if you can find someone who's actually had experience with the organization and can speak to it and I guess vouch for their service, go for it. That's the reason it's so important for you guys to have this discussion, because there are a lot of people who can refer you to someone so that you can say, hey, this person dealt with that organization. They had a good experience. Now, keep it in mind now, this is a disclaimer. They can tell you what their experience was. You never know what's going to happen when you meet with that person, but at least you have a good, if you trust that person, they say, hey, this is our experience. Because people change, things happen in companies and all of that, but it's always good to have someone that you can trust to refer you to some type of organization, especially when it comes to insurance.
and I think it works both ways. When
Mm-hmm.
you meet with that representative, whatever, you can tell them such and such referred to me, and they might even do their homework. See if that's a
Mm-hmm.
long-standing customer. They might even treat you nice because of who referred you to.
Absolutely.
So that goes both ways. So it can
Mm-hmm.
definitely work on your behalf to get that referral. And so after you do that, contact that particular company or that association, that group for yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
schedule for most of them going to give you a free consultation,
Yes.
and they're going to send a representative out to your house and discuss the different types
Most
of
will. I'm not sure
most
if they
of
all will, but I
them.
would certainly ask for it. Ask for, and then some of you may not want to come to your house. Ask them what the options are. But typically, like Pastor Hubby said, yeah, they typically would give you an initial consultation, but understanding that if they say it's a free, but their intent before they leave there is to sell you something. So just be mindful of that, because sometimes people are like, I don't want to hear it. They're too pushy. Well, it's best to just hear them out, and then you can make a decision later on.
Absolutely. So, and that's what we recommend. Once you have, met with a representative, talk to whoever, get your basic information about the different policies because
Hmm.
there's term life and whole life, and it's so many
Yeah. Oh
types of policies.
gosh.
So, understanding what you're getting into and how they change and when rates will go up. So, and we said write down the information and place it in the area so you can retrieve it and go over it as needed.
Hmm.
Secure the policy, whatever you can afford. Everybody's going to be different, and if
Yeah.
your life allow you to improve it as time go on, because you know your situation going to change, family members be added, lose, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
it has to be adjusted from time to time.
And make sure, like I said, it's so important, guys, to understand your family dynamics
Dynamics.
and what type of, because they have all types of insurance. They have short term, long term. If you lose your job, they even have what they call, which I think is a very good benefit, which I strongly, and it kind of leads into our next session because I believe we will have time to get to it, is that go ahead, they have where you can prepay or have insurance by just for your burial. And the reason why I say that's so important, because I've seen too many families who've experienced a loved one passing, and everybody's looking around like, who's going to pay for this? And the thing is, y'all, I don't care how economical you go, it can be expensive. It is an expense. And so they have these different policies out there, so you can actually do like a prepaid, funeral type of policy. So that's really so important to really think about, have a discussion with your loved one. What is your situation? What type of insurance you may be interested in. And of course, the representative will let you know. But even before they come to you, go ahead and have a discussion about what your ultimate goal is,
Right.
and be able to ask the questions. And don't sign on unless, you may not understand every single thing, but have a comfort level with when they leave there and they start taking your money monthly, you have a good understanding what that, what you're going to get for that, what you signed up for.
So with that, where the different types of life insurance, the burial insurance, and like you say, disability insurance, they got so many different ones. But most important, you want to have a name of the company, the insurance, your contact number, your policy number. And like I say, whether it's whole life, term life, burial, whether it's prepaid, disability, whatever type of insurance you got, and have all that stuff in one place where either family member can go to it, who's ever going to be in charge of getting that information together. So you got to make that accessible, and like you say, because you want to go over it from time to time, make sure it's up to date. Like I say, especially if you're dealing with term life, it is just what it says for a certain amount of time, and then it's going to change or go up. Some of that has an opportunity to turn the whole life. But like you said, just so many variables. So make sure you understand what you're getting into. Like
Absolutely.
you say, when you sign that policy and they start taking your money, know exactly what you're getting.
And then one of the things is when he's talking about, in this little guide, what we ask you to do, one of the things we're saying, it's like a user-friendly guide where you can write this information in this booklet if you like. But one of the things we ask you to do, to have some type of folder, journal, somewhere to write this information down, because talking about the insurance is that when something happens, you need to be able to go and get that folder and have all that information so that you can contact these folks and say, hey, this has happened. How do I file a claim? And most of these places do have a website. So all of this information, you were saying, cobble it together in one place. So that way you're not scrambling like, where is this? Where is that? So that's the whole point about getting your house in order, that you got these things pulled together, compiled together, and put in a safe place that you can get to when that time, if and when that time comes.
Well, we know that time's going
to come. Right. So I don't even know why I said yeah. It's like when that time comes. Yeah.
So, getting all that in place leads right into our next section, is being prepared for the funeral. So we understand, we already said death is a part of life, and a lot of us don't like to talk about it, but it's a reality, and it's going to happen to and for all of us. So, so most of the time it's unexpected, but you can be prepared for the unexpected too.
Yeah.
So not as we write, not making plans will not stop it from happening.
That's right.
So that's in bold print. Life's going to happen whether you plan for it or not. You can just make it a little bit easier on your loved ones or for yourself when life does happen. And once again, we understand nothing in life is free, including your burial. We got to pay to get out of this world.
Yeah.
Changing
pay to
life,
come in,
pay
to go out, pay to be here. There's a theme. We pay. Pay now, pay later. It's either way you go pay.
You got to pay. So with including that, we said assess your financial situation and make a determination of whether you want a funeral or not.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here.
Yes, go ahead.
Because here's the thing, and see, now it's being recorded for all the words. I've already decided I'm going to be cremated. That is I've shared it with the pastor hubby. I've shared it with my brothers. I even have it written down that I want to be cremated. So you've got to decide, and I've even shared with them where I want my ashes to be put. And but that's some of the things people don't want to talk about. Like this guy right here. I've asked him, honey, where do you want to be buried? Because here's the thing, I'm well, neither one of us are originally from here. And we're actually in Florida, and I don't want to be there. I don't want to be. I can be cremated here, but I don't want my ashes to be here. But of course, if I'm going on, I won't know what they're gonna do anyway. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm hoping that they will respect my wishes. But it's those discussions that you want to have with your loved ones, like, what is your last wish? Where would you want to be buried? And I keep asking this one. It's like, okay, where do you want to be buried? What cemetery? Because most of his family is here. So where do you want to be buried? So Lord forbid, he's a short lived and I have to make those decisions. I don't want to have to sit there and try to figure out where he wants to be. Well, I'm not gonna spend that much time on it. I'm gonna be like, where his family at? Okay, that's where he going. Okay, but I'm giving him the opportunity to say, honey, this is where I want to be, so then I can honor his wishes. So yeah. So make your wishes known, because that is a challenge, especially if you got multiple people involved, if you have a blended family, you got, your family dynamics. A lot of times when you can get this stuff written down and your loved one has said this is what their wishes are, oftentimes people will respect that. But if there's nothing written down, then everybody is left to their own vices, and that's when all of the strife and unnecessary foolishness, and ain't nobody got time for none of that. I know I don't.
And that's why we say be responsible and do not leave this burden for your loved ones to manage without your help.
Thank
It
you.
is selfish and confusing. Like you said, it creates a lot of discord within the family, especially if married. There's in-laws and the left spouse. People want to take over. There might be children involved,
Right.
so you need to have all that stepchildren, whatever the case
Whatever the
may
case,
be.
your family dynamics.
Exactly. You need to eliminate as much. That's a trying enough time by itself without
Absolutely.
unnecessary confusion being added to the equation. And it's sad that most often than not, this is one of the most chaotic times for families, when you would think they would come together to try to get through this as smooth as possible, but oftentimes it's not. So do your part and make it as smooth as possible. What they do on their own, you don't have to worry about that. So, and it says, contact your desired funeral home and ask for the information or schedule an appointment to discuss your options.
Yeah.
That's like you said, once again, if you desire the service, whether it's a full service or whether it's being cremated.
Yeah.
And not even just that. My wife desired not even to have a service.
Right.
She just wanted me to take her ashes to, the designated site and with her family, and we have a few words, and that's it.
That's it.
So, and that's helpful, because most people are like, well, that's it, but everybody has, their own way of wanting to leave here. So if you can honor that, that's great, especially if you're very specific about some stuff.
Right.
Put it in writing.
Put it in writing.
So nobody won't have to. We don't care what they say. This is what we're gonna know. It's in writing. We gonna.
And this is what they wanted.
This is what they want.
Right. Absolutely.
So once again, like, get that stuff. Once again in the folder, have it in place. The name of the funeral home, the contact name, the phone number. And of course, the cost information, that's for your family information. Everybody don't need to know that. And for your benefit, whether it's a prepaid plan or whatever you got set in place, make sure your loved one has the information on what's going on with your situation if something happens.
And here's another thing is, we're talking about couples, if you have a spouse, but if you're a single person, once again, if we've said this in pretty much all of our other videos, make sure you identify that one person that you trust. So this is going to be a real interesting video, because I'm looking all down here. But anyway, but make sure that even if you're single and you have children or whatever, make sure that you have a person that you have identified that you can trust if something were to happen to you, or you have adult children, that you trust them to know where this information is kept for you. So, if something were to happen to you, they know, oh, such and such said they kept that folder in whatever, in their bedroom, in a shoebox somewhere, whatever. But whoever you give that information to, make sure it's someone you trust, guys. Yeah.
So once again, within that folder, it should contain the funeral home information,
Mm-hmm.
the type of plan you have, the
Mm-hmm.
burial, life, term insurance, whatever, and your burial location.
Yes, because
Who's ever taking care of it, and because like
mm-hmm.
my grandmother, we shipped her back home to Mississippi, so
Mm-hmm.
we had a memorial service here, then flew her back home. So all that information is important, and if you can
Absolutely.
honor those wishes and things have been in place to take care of that, you need to do that.
And guys, please, and these things to me, in a sense, they go hand in hand or whatever. That's the reason it's so important, if you can, to get a prepaid funeral insurance plan or whatever. So that way, you can actually designate an amount
Hmm.
um, that um, that you want to put towards your particular service or whatever you decide, but it's designated specifically for that, because there are times when people have just a blanket insurance and then family members decide to use maybe that money's for something else. So there are a lot of different things that you can designate what these monies are used for, so that way that burden isn't left on you know the family members on where we're going to find this money to bury this person. And then also, like I said, for us, you know what the wishes are. Like, I don't want to be buried here in Florida. I want to be sent back home. Those types of things need to be written down, and so everybody knows, this is what's their wish. And it makes it easier, guys. It makes it, I say, smoother. I hate to use the word easy because
Yeah.
it's going to be a challenging time, but it does help make things move smoother, that you don't have to sit there and make these types of decisions in the midst of everything that's happening. So,
Once again, we want to
mhm,
encourage you to get your house in order.
mhm, mhm.
Remember, life happens to everyone.
Just start talking,
And
guys.
so
Have
get
this
prepared.
discussion.
If you're not prepared, get prepared now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And once again, please like, share, comment, and if you have some tips about how you're getting your life in order, certainly please let us know, because every day is a school day. We should all be learning. We should all be sharing, because really, even if we're not connected by blood, we're connected by God. So we sure want to share as a family, things that work, things that didn't work. This is an opportunity for us to share information. That's one of the positive things about social media, is that even if you don't know me, I don't know you, we can still share information, good information. Websites, I'm always looking for good resources. So please share that in the comment section, because I will certainly take a look at it and revise our plans and add to our plans. So it's not about us just giving to you. We're hoping that we receive from you. And then also consider subscribing to this channel. And then you'll see along the video, our website, christlikefellowship.com, where you can actually pick up this little book. It's just a 6x6 little pocket guide. And then, as we mentioned before, go ahead and grab this little book too. It's a 6x6. It's just full of good information, guys. Not just because we wrote it, but yeah, there's some good information in here. So anyway, until next time.
Be blessed.